Well, once again, it's Friday, 5:30 in the p.m., and of course, this is your host for the next 25 minutes of the most interactive television show on the universe, and that's called Chicago Access Television, Hotline 21, where you get to be the director, you're the orchestrator. As a matter of fact, you're everything you can be. I am delighted to be back. I've been away for a couple weeks. 1 week I was away because I didn't get here in time. And the other week I was away, period, because I was out of town and out of the country and out of the United States of America. But it's nothing like home again. You know, you can travel to Italy, you can go to Rome, but no matter where you go, there's nothing like being at home. So being home, a lot of good and exciting things are going on in our city and in our state and in our country. Some are not so good, not so exciting, but I am delighted because a dear friend of mine, the Honorable David Orr, the Cook County Clerk, is retiring, and tonight he's having his retirement party, or retirement dinner, and I've been asked to participate, and so when I leave, I'm going to just go right up to the far north side of the city and wish David Orr, all of his friends, and all of those folks who've worked with him for these 39 years that he's been in public office. I want to wish them well. So that's a good thing. Of course, something not so good. I was reading that somehow or another the federal authorities have been checking up and checking into another longtime city official, the Honorable Alderman Ed Burke, and I always say you never know that anything is going on other than an investigation, and so you can't predict or say that Alderman Burke has done anything wrong, and I hope that he has not, because quite frankly, he's been a big part of the color and character of the city of Chicago and a dominant part of the Chicago City Council for a long, long time, and so I really do wish he and his wife and their family, Supreme Court Justice Ann Burke, I really wish them well. And I trust that after all of the snooping and all of the looking and all of the seeing, that he will be exonerated and that there will be no wrongdoing found. And so I sincerely do hope that that's going to be the case. I am excited because of the fact, of course, we've talked a great deal about midterm elections, and the side that I was on came out victorious in many places throughout the country. State of Illinois has a new governor, and I am looking forward to some very exciting things to take place. We have a new attorney general. I am looking forward to some exciting things to take place. Of course, Jesse White has been re-elected, and I don't know anybody that's been in public office. I can't think of anybody who's used the office of Secretary of State, especially the large numbers of people who become organ donors as a result of the advocacy. And I'm going to add to that by urging all of us who, that we can be donors. That is, when we give up the ghost and no longer are we alive and we move on to a better place or another place, that we can help somebody else that's coming along. That is by donating organs that we have that may be in good shape. And, I'm a firm believer if you can help somebody as you pass along, if you can cheer somebody with a word or song, if you can help somebody go right who might be going wrong, then your living will not be in vain. You will have been effective, you will have made a difference, and the world will perhaps be a better place. There is opening right next door to my district office a brand new 5-star child care development center. They are looking for a director and an assistant director, and the qualifications are you've got to be 21 years of age, have a high school diploma or a GED, an associate's degree, and the director's credentials are equivalent. Defined 64 semester hours, 2 years, 3120 clock hours of child care development in a nursery school, kindergarten, or a licensed daycare center. Official transcript, CPR, first aid, background check. Physical has to be before 6 months, and all of those. So if you know anybody that could be the director or the assistant director of a new daycare center, please give them this number, 773-387-3303, or you can call my office, and we would be glad to connect you with the owners of this new daycare center that's ready to open, and they're just right next door to my district office. Well, those are kind of a lot of announcements. Of course, we are moving into the Yuletide season. Christmas is coming, and I was just listening to that song a little bit earlier. That Christmas is just a wonderful, wonderful, delightful time of the year. I want to say thanks to all of those individuals who provided free turkey dinners and Thanksgiving dinners for thousands and thousands and thousands of Chicagoans who otherwise would not have been able to experience Thanksgiving the way that they did, except that people pitched in and gave to those who were needy, those who may not have been as fortunate, and so we still have a lot of stuff to be thankful for, no matter the fact that we've had all the shootings and killings and mayhem and all the sorrowful things. But and I always say I didn't get a chance to say my Thanksgiving poem because I wasn't around, but if I had been around, I would have said, over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh over the white and drifted snow. Over the river and through the woods my grandmother's cap I spy. Hooray for the fun, hooray for the pumpkin pie. Well, Thanksgiving is thought of as being a time to share with family and, of course, with your Thanksgiving grandparents. Unfortunately, you get my age, your grandparents are gone, but I tell you, I do have some precious memories of the grandparents that I know, that I knew. I did not know my grandfather on my father's side of our family, but I knew my grandmother. I knew my father's mother and had a chance to experience Grandma Maddie. That was her name. I did not have an opportunity to experience my mother's mother, but I did experience her father. and his name was James Glass. We called him son. I don't know why we never really called him grandfather. He was, I guess, sort of an interesting guy, and everybody else called him son, son Glass. And so we just kind of grew up calling him son, grandfather, son. So I am thankful that I did have an opportunity to experience those two grandparents. Those of you who have grandparents, you are very fortunate because there's nothing like them. On tomorrow, I am going to attend the funeral of a person who was like a mother to me, Miss Asame Stannerback, who was 101 years old. Last year, I talked about going to her 100th birthday party. Well, she did pass away, and her funeral is going to be tomorrow. She used to call me her son, and I called her my play mother. And she was just a wonderful, wonderful, delightful person. I wish I had a lot of time to talk about things, but she was on the board of directors when I met her of the Mile Square Health Center, where I worked for a period of time. And I was amazed because some nights the meetings would last until 12, 1 o'clock, and she would be there at the meeting. But then she'd go home and have to get up and go to work and be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And for a long period of time, she'd catch the bus because she didn't always have a car. And then later on, when I decided to run for public office, she moved into the area where I was, and she organized a little group of girls that she called Danny's Angels. And every year, for many years, she would always put them in our back-to-school picnic and parade, and she called them Danny's Angels. I was in Houston, Texas, a year or two ago, and ran into a lady at a conference who worked for the federal government, manning one of the booths, and she came over and asked me, I was there to give a speech, if I remembered Danny's Angels. And of course I laughed and said that I did, and she said, well, I want you to know that I was one of Danny's Angels with Miss Stannerback. And oh, we just had ourselves a good time. So life is good, and I'm going to celebrate with her family tomorrow morning as we get prepared to lay her to rest. And I will also mention before I take this call that another one of the legends in our community passed away, and that was Reverend James Bass, who was almost 100 years old, just about 100. And his services are going to be next Monday, quite frankly, at the House of Hope, big church that Reverend Meeks built, and hopefully we'll be able to be there. And I'm going to celebrate with Tim Black, who's having his 100th birthday party. So, you know, there's a lot of wonderful people that I know who've reached certain ages and are still kicking. It's just great. Let's go to the phone and see who I got, and we'll spend the rest of the time entertaining your comments and your questions, and it's so good to be back and be here with you. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Congressman, and you know what? First of all, it's a great day to be on God's green earth. I mean, you just brought memories down, and you tell me it's not a great day to be on God's green earth? Let me tell you something. That's what's wrong with life now as we know it. There are people, young people, don't even know nothing about grandmother and grandfather, don't even know daddy. Some of them don't even know mama. But the most precious memories is my grandparents, my great-grandparents on both sides. I mean, that was a village. That was the greatest thing on God's green earth. And I still talk about, I talk to my one of my grandchildren is 9, one of my great-grandchildren is 9. I call them my wolves. I teach them. I just all the time. Please remember Daddy. Remember this. Remember that. And so one day in their lifetime that they could say that that's what's wrong with people right now. Mr. Davis, I've been waiting a long time for you to come back. You know what? We was always talking about people coming out to vote. And you know what my thing was? We need to teach it in school. Let's get the younger people interested in it so when they get to the age, they be ready to vote. One of my game shows is, I love this. I don't even know should I promote it, but I love this game show. They have teams, they have teachers, they have different groups of people, and you got to guess these questions. Well, they had a teen tournament, and the kids could not answer. If I'm right now, they didn't answer nothing in politics, not one simple word. Probably who was the 16th president. They did not know the answers to politics. Again, this is what I think we need to do. If we want this world to be like what it used to be. We got to get things going like what it used to be. It's time. I believe life is like a circle. It comes around. Well, it's round now. We need to. If you don't see the Donald Duck, the way that this man is acting, then it's something wrong. I mean, it's just something wrong. I mean, we have never, ever seen a politician like him. I mean, he's in his own world. But again, we have to vote. We have to know something. Just don't know about standing on the corner begging a quarter to get a beer or something. We need to have knowledge. Man could take everything away from you, but he can't take away knowledge. Please try to get it back in the school. You know, Congressman, like I said, I can't wait to see you on Friday. You're a heck of a man. And the Purple Halls was really good with that hot water cornbread. But again, we can't wait until we see you. And I don't want Hog to show up because I know it's somebody else that want to get to you. But listen, I want you, just in case, I want you and your family to have the most wonderful holiday, a safe one. And all to the listeners, everybody, please have a great day, safe day, and a wonderful holiday. Congressman, let me get out the air so I can hear your response, because I know we got some more wisdom coming from you.
Thank you so much, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, especially about this business of voting and knowing our heritage. You know, a fellow named Marcus Garvey said one time that a people without knowledge of its past is like a tree without roots. And I've had the good fortune to meet and get to know his son, Dr. Julius Garvey. And in honor of what you just said, I'm going to spend the next 3 months just urging people to vote. And we got all these people running for alderman, running for mayor, and I'm just going to be urging people. I'm not necessarily going to be trying to tell nobody who to vote for and that kind of thing, but please make sure that you vote in these municipal elections, because that's going to determine the future of our city. So I thank you, and I'll take the next caller. Caller, are you there?
How you doing, Connie David?
Good, how are you?
Okay, like I said once before, all this is coming out Cause God is exposing a lot of this stuff out here. God is exposing Donald Trump. God is exposing some of these aldermen, what they be doing criminal, and they can't pull one over God, cause God watching. God is watching over everybody what they do.
He's too high, you can't go over him. He's too low, you can't go under him. He's too wide, you can't go around him. And I certainly agree with you. All right, thank you, James. If we have another call, right quick. Well, if we didn't, if we do, we got one. If we don't, we don't. But at any rate, it is indeed a joy and a pleasure and a delight that we are able to communicate with you. And I want to thank Cable Access for being available to the people of Chicago. And of course, I didn't get a chance to thank all of the people who did vote, especially those in the 7th Congressional District. I always tell people that I've got the greatest constituents in the whole wide world. And no matter what else happened, our children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. So I'm going to be focusing during the next year a great deal of my public attention on the needs of children and on the hopes and aspirations of children. What we do for our children will be with us forever and forever. And so that's what I'm going to spend my time focused on, much of it. We thank you all for the opportunity, and I'm going to get out of Dodge and head on up to David Orr's retirement party. And I'm going to tell David, whom I think has been one of the best public officials we could have. 39 years, never any real hint of impropriety, never any kind of scandal, never any kind of doing wrong that anybody knew about. David, you've had a tremendous career, and I thank you, my friend, for the service that you have given to the people of Chicago and of Cook County. We'll see you in a few minutes, and we'll see you next week.